Motion Summit in Accra. My next guest, as I sat down at the Mining in Motion Summit, is the Chief Executive Officer of the Africa Mining Strategy Group. This is a critical Pan-African body that is trying to reimagine the mining sector. My guest, His Excellency Moses Engadu, spoke about a new mining vision for Africa on 5 key pillars. We sat down to deliberate on those. We're still here at the sidelines of Mining in Motion happening in Accra, Ghana, and we're very privileged to be talking to His Excellency Moses Michael Engadu, who's the Secretary General for the Africa Mineral Strategy Group. Gave a fantastic speech to open day 2, outlining 5 key priorities for the mining sector on the continent. Fascinating speech there. But let's talk about the Africa Mineral Strategy Group. What organization is that, Your Excellency? Talk to us about that first.
Thank you. So last year in January, the African countries were recognizing that there is a latest scramble for African minerals.
Yes.
But also the urgent need for us to protect our strategic interests as a continent and take advantage of this new wave that's coming at us, what we are calling the second chance. The ministers responsible for minerals and mining established the Africa Minerals Strategy Group as an intergovernmental continental specialized agency for critical minerals development.
Wow.
Our primary purpose is to facilitate international cooperation in the mining and mineral sector within the African countries, but also foster collaboration with the wider world on a win-win mutual benefit for us to unlock the vast potential of our minerals for the prosperity of the continent. Interestingly, when you look at our strategic goal, it is about the promotion of exploration, extraction, production, but local beneficiation and commercialization to ensure that we have a sustainable, transparent and secure supply of minerals while protecting the environment and improving the quality of life of our people. When we do this, we should be able to spur economic transformation and prosperity of our continent, while at the same time supporting the global energy transition. So it really, our mandate is around how do we unlock the vast mineral potential as a continent? How do we change the narrative? Because we know that this sector is capital intensive, this sector is sort of affected by the burdens of the past. Our communities where the minerals come from are not benefiting. We have a pit to port model, in the industry. Everybody just wants to carry even the soil. They want to take it up, but we're really losing out on the opportunities of spurring, not just job creation, but industrialization. When this building is made of cement is a mineral. There's so much that we could be able to do as a continent, and our mandate is to be that common voice, driving a singular agenda and being able to negotiate better.
And is it possible to have a singular agenda for a continent as diverse as Africa, and also for minerals as diverse as traditional things like gold, bauxite, copper, to say rare earth metals like lithium and that type of thing? Because we're seeing new forms of minerals emerging. Are the issues cross-cutting?
Fortunately for us, we are bound by both pain, and that is one, and the need for us to benefit from these minerals. And so we have already cross-cutting issues. One cross-cutting issue is collaboration. Everybody has recognized that we are stronger together, more respected when we work together, because the geopolitical environment we live in is that when you go alone, you'll never be able to succeed. The second thing that brings us together is mineral value addition. This is a sort of an overriding theme that is happening. Our governments have realized that we cannot benefit from our minerals when we're not adding value locally. So you're having a lot of countries, and we've been supporting them, sort of banning export of raw materials.
Yes.
And creating policies that are advancing that. So we already have common ground that drives us together, because we have a young population that needs jobs. We create jobs through adding value addition. So that's already. The third area is technology. You know, because we know that mining by its nature, or extractive industry, has a destructive component to the environment. And we cannot hand over a destructed continent to the next generation. We received something that was different, but we have the opportunity of leveraging technology to reduce that environmental footprint. And the last area for us is inclusivity, the inclusion. And it begins with us mapping the value chain. Who is involved at which part? No single part is small in this. So I can with all certainty say what drove us to come together as a continent to address the urgent need was an understanding that we have more commonalities than what divides us. But when it also comes to the various minerals, is that the first step we have defined and we're building consensus on is critical minerals for who? Who defined what is critical minerals? And in Africa, yes, we have your lithium, we have your graphite, we have all this, but our people are probably not going to drive your electric cars by then. What is concerning for us is food security. So in Africa, in most countries, the governments are telling us phosphate is a critical mineral.
Fertilizer.
That leads us to fertilizer. They're telling us we need to power. Coal is a critical mineral. We're being told we are shifting from the renewables, from fossil fuels to renewables. My country, Uganda, just discovered oil recently. We are planning to exploit it, but we are being told, don't touch it. Somebody else has used it to develop their countries. We see the Gulf, leapfrogging, but we are told don't touch. But this is a trick about it. You see, our people cut forests to cook. Forget about mineral-rich, exploitation, illegal exploitation, but they need firewood to be able to cook. So if I give them gas, cooking gas, then they will not cut the forests. But to get cooking gas, you require to exploit the oil, because it's a byproduct of your crude oil. So if you say, do not exploit the oil, that means you're telling me, cut more forests. So getting that nexus right. So the first step is we are saying critical for who? As Africa, we are defining what is critical minerals for us. Your list, thank you, we shall give you when you need on our terms, but we should also be able to identify. So our duty really is to build consensus, and there's consensus on several things. We have more that unites us than divides us.
You gave us 5 strategies.
Yes.
Before I come there, when I listen to the international narrative on mining, when a country says we're not going to export raw gold or raw minerals, and the government is banning it, the Europeans or Americans will say this is resource nationalism. They have all kinds of interesting terms to discourage that. Are you sure that the African governments that set you up are committed to value addition? Because you're saying all the right things, but a lot of governments, whether it's because of deals they sign or because of pressure from elsewhere, tend to continue the status quo and don't take the hard decisions that will transform our continent. So what's your comment?
For starters, it's sort of like the chicken and egg kind of situation.
Yeah.
You cannot have one without the other when you have. I'm very pleased with our governments, because they have now moved from rhetoric to action. These that we're talking about have been put in regulations. So we've supported governments, and they've already put these issues into regulations. It's one thing, obviously, to have a regulation and to implement. What we also realized when we took over and the space, because our mandate is over the minerals and mining sector, in our first assessment is that for some countries, this is a lifeline.
Yeah.
Minerals are a lifeline. So they are not coming on board with the implementing the policy, largely has with the diversification of the income that they get into the country. So that's why we are working with the government to make sure that the minerals cease being a lifeline, because then they will give me the opportunity to negotiate better and to be able to champion. The other thing is that they are bound by the collective. See, by joining MSG and signing the charter, you're now bound by our collective decision making. And so I am very happy to report that since last year, we now have 18 member states, and 7 are going through the processes, and that means that there is interest. And so we are looking at how else do we finance the continent? How else do we help our countries diversify their income bases? And now we are moving to things like the tokenization. It's one of the 5 pillars.
I'd like to elaborate on this, because finance for me, or capital, is the big question. A lot of times we have great ideas on the continent. There isn't enough savings on the continent to generate enough investment to form the capital you need. Mm-hmm. You alluded to tokenization, and you said African minerals should fund the African dream. Can you elaborate on how tokenization cracks the financing question?
I'll talk about that, but I also have another S in the works. So let's start with tokenization. So we have a global decentralized finance markets, what we call digital financial markets. And one of the elements that is within that is what they call real world assets. So a real world asset that backs the digital token, which is then exchangeable should the owner of the digital token choose to liquidate. So this market alone is estimated by 2030 to be $16 trillion. You can put up your real estate, you can put up your land, many things can be tokenized. Minerals are the best of it all. And the beauty about it is you have tokenization at about 3 levels. You can tokenize stocks that you already have or inventory you have. We can issue a token, you put it in a warehouse, your token is issued, and the market and the primary and secondary markets play. You could also tokenize your value. So a government, in most of the large-scale mining projects, government has a stake. So we can take that stake, which is futures, and tokenize that, and that is what is traded. The one that will be the best for Africa is the mineral reserves, because once you prove geologically using certain standards, and we are working with some of the top companies in exploration, such as Excalibur Smart Mapping, you can then be able to prove that you have these reserves. With those reserves, a token trust, a token reserve trust is established, and that proceeds are tokenized, and then people are trading off them. There are people who want to invest, but they don't want to own your gold mine or the problems that come with the gold mine. So what that means that with the tokenization of reserves, we will be able to raise money that countries can use for infrastructure, can use in exchange of the value that has been committed. And that therefore also means the environment won't be destroyed, because you no longer need to extract to make money. So the alternative financing mechanisms is where Africa needs to go.